Before we begin, we want to give a content warning. In today's episode, we will be discussing sexual assault, including rape. This may be distressing for some listeners. Please take care of yourself, and if you need to, feel free to skip this episode or step away at any time. Hello, everybody. I'd like to introduce Solange Ndip. Solange is a survivor of sexual violence turned changemaker on a mission to make rape a word that exists only in the dictionary. Through her organization, Solange Rising Star, she supports survivors, educates communities, and transforms perpetrators, creating a world where sexual violence is no longer tolerated. Solange lives in Cameroon, and I am very privileged that she's agreed to join me for my podcast, Stories Seldom Told, to share her stories with me. I am Smitha Tharoor. Welcome, Solange, and welcome to my podcast. Now, that introduction itself, people would have heard that and caught their breath, thinking, wow, that is an ambitious story and organization that you've got. It's not just about supporting survivors, but also transforming perpetrators. But before we even talk about Solange Rising Star, the organization, tell me a little bit about you. Tell us your story so we can understand you better, Solange.
Thank you, Smita. Thank you for this privilege to share my story on this wonderful platform. Um, I am very, very happy today because I believe there are so many people out there that need to know our story, stories like mine. So I will begin by telling our audience to, you know, have a seat, take a cup of coffee, and just place yourself in a position as if you're listening or you're watching a movie, not just a movie, but an African movie. Now, let me introduce you to Solange and my community where I grew. I will start with my little community in Cameroon called Munyenge. In Munyenge, we have different groups of tribe because in Cameroon we have different ethnic groups. So there are diverse tribes in this locality. And most of the people who hold power, authority, those who pass judgment, they are all men. Again, in this community, the main occupation is farming, and my parents are also farmers. So growing up in this community, a green village. We play around with our friends. We go outing, we bathe in the stream. Very early in the morning, we go to the stream, we bathe together, we come back. Just imagine this thing. And
Beautiful.
we live on very natural fruits. We eat natural vegetable, fruits like pawpaw, oranges, and with all this, trouble was not free. It wasn't free from trouble. We had all the good times as children growing up without knowing the pertinent problems in this community. But I personally saw in my family how my mother was tortured, tormented by my father always. Whenever she wants to talk on an issue that has to do with decision making, he will always tell her, "You are mine. I got married to you, and you need to listen to me." That is the trend in my community. That is what happens in Munyenge, Cameroon. Growing up in this community, I was a happy girl. At the age of 7, I transited to the city called Kumba, where my aunt lives. And here I saw my aunt is an educated woman, very powerful. a medical doctor. So she had group of women also that were so powerful. And when I looked at the contrast, I saw a different world where women had power. Women could talk. Women could attend meetings. Women could have a small group that they help themselves. And I was like, what is happening to Munyenge?
And you were only 7 at this point, just 7 years
Seven.
old.
Yes. So at the age of 10, that's 3 years later, I lost my aunt.
Oh,
I had to go back to my little community. By then, I already start having some mindset of power. I know women to have power, women to have voice. You know, women have voices. That is when I was looking at the situation, and within me, I knew I would grow up to be a powerful woman, regardless of my community. But at 14, while schooling, I got raped. 2 years later, I was raped again in this same community. The bad part of it is my community, who was to support me, instead supported the perpetrator. This is the reality of our communities in Munyenge, in Cameroon. I was forced to live with my abuser. The elders decided I should live with him because, according to them, he is responsible. Let him carry the load of financial burden and uplift it out of my parents, you know.
forgive me, Solange. I'm trying to understand this because you've just said something so very powerful to us.
Yeah.
When you were 14, you were raped, and then you were
Yes.
raped again at the age of 16
Okay.
by the same person or by two different people.
Two different people.
And then you were advised to go and stay with the man who assaulted you,
Yes, with the perpetrator. Yes,
with the
because it
perpetrator.
resulted in pregnancy. Yeah.
And so your family said to you, even though it is sexual assault, even though you are raped, and of course, you're only 16 years
Mm.
old at this point, you must go and live
Yes.
with this old man who has been the perpetrator because you are pregnant.
Yes. It was even against my father's wish, against my parents' wish. When the elders sat and listened to the story, and they said, it has happened this way, this girl has to live with the perpetrator. Like I said, these are the people who hold authority, who have the final say in every situation. And when it was given, when it was uttered like that, I had to go and live with this man. Just imagine living with somebody you barely know, somebody you hate, somebody who has hurt you. It was really a tough time for me. The only option I had was to die. I always feel like I am worthless. I have no life. With all this, I, during the pregnancy, when I was going to antenatal at the hospital, there was this nurse who always looked at me, and she was able to understand that something is wrong with me, because the hospital is not in the same village but in the same community, so not everybody knows the story. So she was like, what is happening with you? You always sit quiet, isolated. When other women come, they put themselves together, they eat, they feel free and talk, but you are always alone. So I couldn't talk but to cry. And that is when she got interested into my story. I just told her a bit of it. And it is through her, after I gave birth to this child, I was able to escape from this relationship. Because whenever I was there, I was maltreated again. I went through domestic violence. I was beaten. Whenever I want to talk, I will always be shunned not to talk. I was like a commodity, but, and When I escaped, I had to go with my baby. I was living with another family in the city, helping them to sell cooked food. And myself, I was selling second-hand clothes in the day. And in the evening, I attended school because deep in me, I didn't allow my condition to define me. I still thought of those powerful women in Kumba when I was 7. And so I said, I must become that woman. I pursue my education. Music was really part of me. I was listening to music, looking at my daughter. She was my consoler. She was my consoler. She was my strength. I had to work so hard.
I want us to go back to that age of 14,
Okay.
and you are in the hospital, you are heavily pregnant,
Mm.
and you are with the
Yeah.
nurse. And
Yeah.
because you've said so many powerful things, and I know the listeners, like I am feeling at the moment, will take time to absorb what you're saying, will take time to understand the power of what
Yes.
you've just told us. So I'd like for us to go back to
Mm.
that time where you were with the nurse, and the nurse saw you crying,
Mm.
and you confided in her. And then you said to us,
Yeah.
you got the courage to leave this gentleman, the perpetrator, as we will call him, with, at this point, your newborn
Yeah.
baby daughter. It's a little girl, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So your little baby
She was
daughter,
one.
and you decide
Mm.
to escape. But can you explain to us? You're 16 years old. You have just become
Mm.
a mother. You have no family
Yeah.
support because they've already told you
Yeah.
that you have to be with the perpetrator.
That's
What
true.
is it that you say to yourself? How do you manage? What do you do specifically to take that little baby and leave that community, that little village, and get to the city, to the town? What do you do?
Okay. Okay. Let me go into details. Now, when I met this nurse, I explained so many things to her, and she felt my pain. So she gave me a fake medical report to give to this my supposed husband, as the community had said. So I gave to him that I have been warned not to have sex with any man, even him, because if he does, my life is in danger with the baby. So that report gave him fear to even touch me because I was constantly raped within, you know. Now, with this report, he started now to cheat on me. Let me say cheating, though I don't like him, but he was
But I
bringing in
understand.
different,
Yeah.
yes, different girls at home. I will even cook for them. I was more or less like a maid. And with all this, it also gave me some anger within. I was, I cannot take this anymore. I have to find a way out. And I went to this nurse. I told her again. She told me, your baby is almost a year now. You can start up something. I said, yes. So she and a good neighbor who has always been watching me crying in silence, they supported me with transport. And they even contacted the family I was supposed to come and live with. I came, traveled to the city. I lived with them. I was helping this family to sell. When they cook their food, I was selling. While selling, also, I was also doing my own small business attached with the main business. And from there, I could go to school in the evening and supporting myself and my child.
That is so remarkable, Solange, because most people, or very often, when you go through a major trauma like you have been, and repeatedly, as you told us.
Mm.
Um, many women would not have the courage of conviction, of self-belief, to do that. Plus, you have a little baby. So now you are responsible not just for yourself, but for another person.
Yeah,
Many women would have said, well, at least there is a man who can put food on the table for my baby.
that's true.
But you did not do that. And
Yeah.
I wanted us listeners to appreciate a little sort of 16-year-old Solange, new mother in Cameroon with her baby, and then going into the big town, staying with a family, working during the day, studying at night, doing everything that she wanted to in honor of her aunt, who she first noticed at the age of 7, and knew that women could be powerful. And to me,
That's
it is extremely moving. I just wanted us to say it out aloud before you continue your story. But please continue. Thank you, Solange.
Thank you. So, while schooling, I developed love and interest for music, artwork, and I realized there are so many social problems out there in our community, especially nowadays. There is drug abuse. There is, in our country now, we have a crisis called the Anglophone crisis. And so many youth are indulging into it. And there is lots of violence everywhere.
What is the Anglophone crisis? Could you explain that to
Okay,
us?
yeah. The Anglophone crisis is a problem that started just small with a demand from the Anglophone people, since Cameroon is a bilingual country dominated by the French, because we have 10 regions, 2 English-speaking region and 8 French-speaking. In our country, the president is from the French side. Most of the ministers, most governing bodies are from the French side. And so there was so much marginalization on the Anglophone people.
Ah,
They decided a peaceful walk, requesting for, um, they too requested that they should be seen and heard in their own country. There should be equality. And with that, the government could not take it. They had to start, you know, fighting against those who came out for the peaceful walk, and it agitated and aggravated to something that
and
we
is
have
your
today as the
language English or
Anglophone.
French? Is your language English
It
or
is,
French? It is English. Okay.
I'm from the English speaking.
I didn't
Yes,
want to assume, just in case. I thought you could be bilingual.
yeah.
Yeah,
I speak both. That's our country.
yeah, of course. Right. And so, yes, to come back to, we needed a little history lesson just to remind the
Mhm.
listeners that Cameroon was
Okay,
colonized by both the United Kingdom as well as France. And
friend,
therefore,
yes.
that is why both languages are prevalent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I started Solange Rising Star as a talent show organization where we identified youths, students, pupils, even, and young women. We had little talks, we organized show, and we tell them to come out, use music, use comedy, use spoken word, use any work of art to advocate against any social ill that you feel you want to see change. And it was really, really successful because we saw how people were engaging. We became very, very influential when it comes to organizing shows in our town. So from there, I started another group called Women Corner Association, a WhatsApp group where we will talk on so many issues that concerns women, like our culture, understanding our cultural values. We also talk about women's health. We will also talk about good parenting, because I realized my problem. Most of the things we faced in our community comes from the way, in fact, comes from parenting as a whole, the society, the way the communities look at life. We talk on toxic masculinity, like gender roles and all those things that really gives men lots of power over women. So there are lots of things we discuss in our Women's Corner group. And from there, I started attending seminars, most programs that concern women, I will apply online. And I'm there. I became a spokesperson when it comes to gender-based violence. I was called at times to give a talk. In my community, I am known already as someone who advocates against gender-based violence. And that is when I had this opportunity to apply to Kantari Institution, India. This is an institution that trains social change makers all over the world to become good advocates, to advocate for change in their own communities. So I was selected to be the 2024 participant. And that is when I had a change in a change of view in everything that I was doing. Because with all I have been doing, I had a pain in me. I knew my main vision, what I really want to advocate against, has not really been said out. I couldn't summon the courage to talk within my community. I was scared of how will people look at me. Maybe some people will judge me. Some people will say, oh, because to us it looks like a taboo. It looks
Of
like,
course.
oh, she has been raped,
Yeah.
those kind of things, stigma. I was so scared. So while I came to Canterbury, we had the opportunity of talking our projects every day, and every day we had our dream speech to give out there. And the first day I spoke my dream speech, I could not really hold myself. I cried from the beginning to the end because that was the first day I opened my mouth to tell the world that I was raped, to tell the world that the child I have is out of rape. It is so painful. If I didn't go through this transition, this Canterbury process, I don't think I could even stand here to talk. I am talking now because I have said it in such a way that I have been consoled on how to talk. In fact, to prevent myself from tearing again. Now, I see myself as a leader. And I came up with my organization, Solange Rising Star. This Solange Rising Star now has a vision. It's not like just the talent show that we used to do. Our main vision now is advocating against sexual violence and rape and promoting a culture of consent and mutual respect, mutual empowerment. We are for equality. And that is why you see me working with men and women at the same time. Should I continue?
Well, no, as you can see, because some of us will be hearing this on audio and some might be seeing us on YouTube. And those on YouTube will look at my face and appreciate that there, I don't know what to say when I'm listening to you. I am listening to
Okay.
you, I am looking at you, and I am
Okay.
so amazed and impressed. And these are very trite, these words that I'm using, that you have the courage within you. Firstly, you say that Kantari in India supported you and you cried because you told your story. And by telling
Yeah.
your story, you became more empowered. But I
Yeah.
say, but I say it was always within you. And yes, maybe Kantari supported you. And if it wasn't Kantari, it would have been something else or somebody else. But you clearly, what little I know of you, how many 7-year-olds, how many 7-year-old little girls would question their own upbringing from 0 to 7 when they are in a different environment and ask
That's
themselves,
true.
oh, that's an odd way that I live. And I know I don't have to live like that. I can live like the other.
Yeah.
And if we really think about it and reflect, there won't be that many 7-year-olds who think like that. So
Mm.
you have begun to think about empowerment, about equality, about being a powerful, empowered woman before you knew what those words meant when you were a tiny little girl,
That's
age 5, 6, 7 years
yeah.
old. And now you're
True.
putting them into life. And I wanted us to appreciate what you're saying. And you're saying now that you've got Solange Rising Star, it is not just to support the survivors, but it is also to support equality. So tell us a little bit more
Yes.
about that.
Okay. I I believe in equality because I also believe in innovation. Looking at my community, there are so many organizations that are already working on to support survivors of gender-based violence. And in most cases, they will work with the women and men are left out. And what I've seen, I realize that it instead poses lots of problems because some of these men, with the kind of men I know, are in my community. Some of them will prevent their wives, those most vulnerable women that we need to meet. They don't attend these programs because they don't have a say, they don't have a voice, they can't leave their house on their own. And that is why I understand. Being in this community, I know firsthand of the challenges. And I realize that we cannot continue doing window dressing. We need to go into the stem. We need to go into the root, rather, you know, looking at those root causes. All these problems are caused by men. And if it is caused by men, some of them is not because they just want it, or it's not because they're wicked. It's because of the community. It's because of the society, the stereotypes, what they grew up to see. And I think if they're given the opportunity to understand that a woman is as equal as them, there will be change. And that is a true change that we want to see. We don't want to see a community where a woman is above a man. We don't want to see a community where a man is above a woman. Because when it happens that way, there will still be problems. We don't want gender-based violence. We want to stop gender-based violence, especially rape in our community. It's difficult to say so, but I
So how,
believe with the
but
right
how can you
approach.
do this, Solange? And you say your community, but certainly, as you know,
Mm,
I am Indian, and you have been to India. You studied. You did your
yeah,
social change fellowship for, was it 1 year?
yes,
Is your course 1 year? So you 1 year you were in India.
yeah,
You would have met people from other countries, including many Indians. Your community is not exceptional. It is not only your community. It is many parts of the world,
that's true,
including in India.
true,
It's unfortunate that I have to say that, but that is the fact that
that's true.
that we know. And so, what you're saying is remarkable because rather than just supporting the survivor, which is what most people would want to do, you're saying, what's the point? Let's look at the root cause and let's try and change the root cause to be something else. So, how do you go about doing that?
Okay, under Solange Rising Star, we have 5 interventions. One of the interventions is the ECHO project. We call it ECHO, that is Empower, Change, and Healing Outreach, where we transform perpetrators of sexual violence at the prison. We have an ongoing project now that is at the Kumba Principal Prison. We have identified over 70 cases involved in rape. We have profiled them, we have understood their problems, where they come from, their community, their jobs, if they are married or single, their status as a whole. So with all this, we are able to customize their training based on wherever they come from or whatever they do in life, the kind of people they mingle with every day. We have our values: empathy, justice, and accountability.
Ah,
With empathy, yeah. So with empathy, we believe that if you give anyone the second chance, you know, with empathy, giving them the room to see, to take account of their crime, there is possibility for change. And with this approach, we've been able to transform most of them, because presently we have about 36 that are proving to change. They're proving, they already show change, because they advocate against rape using their voices. Some of them speak online. Some of them they write short stories like
you have
that.
already got an outcome from
Yes,
men, a positive outcome
already.
from men,
Yes, it
where
is
they
happening
had
already.
appreciated and acknowledged the
Yes,
idea of empathy
mm,
and justice. But much more than that,
yes,
it is really about
yeah.
addressing and giving back to the community.
Mm. Starting this project was not an easy thing, because it is, let me say, it is the first in my country for an organization to work with perpetrators, especially a survivor, because Solange Rising Star is a survivor-led organization. Every one of us working here are all survivors. And we have been trained. When I returned, I trained my team. We worked with a humanitarian activist, a lawyer, a psychologist, to train the team to be able to work with these people, to put their problems, their past behind, and let us see the change that we all want to see. Let us work for the change that we all want to see. And that is the drive. That is what gives us joy. We don't want to see others go through our path of life.
Tell me something, Solange.
Now,
How old is your
yeah,
daughter?
she's 18.
She is such a lucky young woman because she's got the
Thank
best
you.
role model in the world. I mean, think
Thank you.
about it. Because if we all of us at any point in our lives need role models to learn from, to emulate, to be mentored by. And your daughter, what is her name?
Median.
Midian.
Median.
Midian.
Median. Yes.
Midian's mother is her role model,
Yeah.
her mentor, her guide. How lucky is she?
True.
But not all of us have Solange Ndip as a role model. So, what
That's
could
true.
you advise us listeners? We may not have gone through your experience, but there are
Mm-hmm.
many, many men and women, not just women, because I know you're talking about equality, who want to make change, who want to be more empowered, who want to make a difference in their world because they are not being able to do that. What is it that we can do?
Okay, so if I have to give advice, I have to classify if it's on women, men, and when it comes to women, the advice I will give to a young girl is different with an advice I will give to maybe a wife, a wife, a single mother, a widow. They are all different
Okay.
because they have different challenges. But now, if I want
Is
to
there
talk to everyone,
any one thread that goes through all that you could give us?
okay, I want us to believe in ourselves. I want us to understand that there is something, there is a purpose that everyone was born with. And we should not allow, you know, our situation, the present situation. I call it the present situation because I believe in transformation. Don't allow the present situation to define your future. It is okay to cry, but it is not okay to stay silent. You can talk to anyone. You can look at those who have interest on you, those who smile at you. Just talk to somebody and you will get the solution. Imagine if I didn't talk to my neighbor, if I didn't talk to the nurse, I wouldn't have had any solution. So it is not okay to stay silent.
And to believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself.
It's an absolute honor and privilege to have heard your stories, Solange. Solange Ndip, thank you so very much for sharing your stories, seldom told.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. This episode has been produced by Naisargi Karnam. As always, if you like this episode, please share. Sharing is the best form of praise and support. I am Smitha Tharoor, and this is Stories Seldom Told.